All right, Paul Reed here and Jason Crawford again with your Friday edition of Live Feed Reads. As I had mentioned last week, I am now 1 month post surgery and feeling a lot better, and do plan on snow skiing on December 26th in Breckenridge. Although everybody thinks I'm foolish, stupid, and should not do that, well, that's par for the course. All right, so what we're going to talk about today, which is something that literally came up this week that I'd never heard of, and it came up in the form of our litigation with a client who, no need to divulge that, but let me just tell you how a lawsuit works, and then it'll feed into this. Can't negotiate a settlement with the insurance company or for whatever reason you file suit against, we'll do motor vehicle accidents, against the driver that caused the accident. First thing you do, you file what's called a complaint. They're boilerplate. Honestly, Florida requires you to just let the defendant know why you're being sued. So there's not a whole lot that goes into a complaint. You file the complaint online with the Hillsborough County. Let's assume it's Hillsborough County. They send you back a subpoena. You send the subpoena to the process server. He takes it out to the actual individual, because in Florida, like I'd said before, with the non-joinder statute, you don't sue the insurance company. You actually have to sue the individual that caused the accident. Now, the insurance company will hire the lawyer. They'll pay for the lawyer. They'll be behind the scenes doing everything. But for purposes of how a lawsuit works, you sue the defendant, the person that caused the accident. Process server comes to your house, knocks on the door, and says, here's your complaint. Thank you. Have a nice day. The person that caused the accident, which is now we'll call the defendant calls the insurance company, says, hey, I got sued, and the insurance company says, send us the paper, and will take care of it.
Brian Staley says hi.
Brian, how you doing? Brian will be probably shocked. He's a pharmacist, and he may or might not even know that his pharmacy actually is part of the SureScripts organization we're going to get to in a minute. So then the insurance company hires a defense lawyer in town, and they file an answer. The answer basically just denies everything you said, whether they're at fault, not at fault, whether you were hurt. It's just, again, these are all boilerplate, just how it works. So they deny everything. They have 20 days to do that from when Jason we'll use Jason, when we knock on the door and hand Jason his papers. And if you see how Jason drives, you'll understand this is very possible. So anyway, they have 20 days. They file an answer, deny everything, and they also send what's called discovery. Under the Florida Rules of Civil Procedure, both sides are allowed to gather information on the other side, and that's called discovery. It's Florida Rules of Civil Procedure. One of them is called interrogatories. Interrogatories are 30 questions, more or less, that are approved by the Supreme Court. Oh, you know what, Jason?
What?
Every time I say you got to throw one of these things at me, because Mom says you got to quit. Yeah, shit. Well, that's the problem. Mom says you quit saying So I'm gonna try to do my best not to it up.
Well, Eddie Vanderbrink says hi.
Hey, Eddie, how are you? So the interrogatories are 30 questions asking you about your version of events, how the accident happened. Believe it or not, they get to ask whether or not you've been convicted of a felony, your accident history, medical history before the accident.
No, another one.
No, we're gonna work on this. What else? Facebook information, Instagram information, just work history, education history. They literally get to pry into your life, and a lot of individuals don't realize that that's what's happening when you file a suit, that you're opening up your life to inspection. And that's just the way it works. I didn't create this mess. People will get those interrogatories. Some of them will just fill it out understanding, okay, if Paul says, we need to provide these, we provide it. Others will say this is none of their business, and what does it have to do with this lawsuit? And I say, well, I agree, but the Florida Supreme Court has stated that these are the questions they get to ask, and if you want to file a suit and proceed and seek compensation for your injuries, provide the information. So you do that, and you provide them with answers to the interrogatories. You get 30 days to do so. They get your interrogatories, and they say, okay, well, they have a lost wage claim. You listed 5 employers that you worked for and your current employer, so they send out a subpoena to all of them. Okay, you got to understand, what are they looking for? Why would they send a subpoena to McDonald's where I worked when I was 20 years old, and Jason's like 90 now, so it would really have no bearing on this. But
Yeah.
what are we looking for, do you think, Jason? What does the defense want to find by sending out these subpoenas?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. That just seems excessive to me.
Fair
Like,
enough. Let's say Jason hurt his back in this, or I hurt my back in this car accident. They want to find out if I was somehow injured at McDonald's on the job and hurt my back while lifting boxes from the delivery truck. Because guess what? If they find that I had been injured, do you think they're going to say that Jason hitting me on this minor impact caused my herniated disc? Or was it lifting the box 20 years ago while working at McDonald's?
Okay, now it seems relevant, but it still seems a bit suspect.
I understand. And that's how that goes. They are really looking for information they can use to point the finger at some other reason why you're having neck or back pain. So they will. I had a case, and I'm going to try to not run off topic, but they think my client somehow was injured and went to a hospital in Miami. My client says, I've never even been to Miami. They don't believe you. They sent a subpoena to like 9 different hospitals in Miami looking for something. There wasn't anything there, but that's the extent they go to find some other reason or some other basically medical record or otherwise that will point the finger at. All right, so once they do that, they send that out called a non-party production subpoena. It's just basically, the parties to this lawsuit are Paul Reed and Jason Crawford, and everybody else would be a non-party, your medical providers, prior medical providers, employers, and so forth. All right, so that they do that, and you do what's called, or the law firm, or the plaintiff's firm, Reed and Reed, will do what's called a request for copies. If Jason's lawyers are going to get something from McDonald's, I want to see what they get, and I'm entitled to do so. If Jason's lawyers want to get something from Brandon Regional Hospital, because Jason went there, years ago, I want to see what they got. So no one wants to be blindsided in trial. So that's how that works, request for copies. So they do that, and then and the litigation goes on. They take your deposition and stuff, and so what is, go ahead.
So I was gonna say that's kind of like the general background, and that's just like standard procedure.
Standard procedure
for like any kind of accident.
All lawsuits.
Okay.
Medical malpractice, slip and fall, dog bite, you name it. In an injury claim, they will send out these interrogatories. You will answer the questions. Then they will send out the non-party production subpoenas and try to find all your records, workers' compensation, Social Security, disability, and now they look, just so you'll know, if your Facebook or Instagram, I don't know much about Instagram and how all that works, but if it's not marked on private, it should be, because these insurance companies hire investigators, private investigators, to scour the social media world to find pictures basically of you, that they can use against you.
Well, that's interesting. So a quick tip from the sidelines then
Yeah.
would be to take your social media accounts like Facebook and Instagram and set them to private and or friends only. That
Right.
way, like if you're on Instagram and you get a follow or somebody wants to follow you, you get a notification and then you have to allow them to follow you. Otherwise, they can't see anything on your profile.
Well,
so that sounds like the best way to go.
Yeah, and especially if you're injured. And when you're injured, you would do that immediately, and you can still communicate to your friends on Facebook and Instagram, but again, without getting into great detail and getting off topic, we had a case where client's girlfriend posted something, they found it, that was the end of the case. The person testified, I cannot do A, B, and C, and they were doing A, B, and C, and I can tell you, I can explain away anything but a lie, or a perceived lie. And so, anyway, if you do get in an accident, and we have a little magnet that we give you to stick to your fridge, it basically Ghostbusters social media. All right, so I get this, in this case, I get this authorization, and this is it. And I'm looking at them like, I've never seen this before, 20 plus years, and they're always coming up with something new. And it's called SureScripts, SureScripts. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, what is this? I've never heard of it. They want my client to sign of authorization so they can send it to SureScripts. So first I look at it and I say, okay, well, what are they looking for? And let me just read what it says. Basically, the defense firm's looking for any and all applications for benefits or claims for benefits, which would be, I'm assuming, insurance applications, reservations of rights, which is basically if you file a claim with your insurance company and they either deny the claim or they think about or try to find some way they can deny the claim, they'll send you a reservations of rights. It just says something to the effect, Jason, we're not sure we're going to cover this accident because you maybe didn't tell us about 3 or 4 people who live in your home, and on your application you didn't list them. And just so you'll know, Jason, that's a material misrepresentation. So what people think, rightfully so, is I'm filling out my automobile application and it says down there, tell me everybody who lives in your home. Well, Jason says, well, if I list these 3 people, it's going to cost me more money. So I don't list them, right? Happens all the time. Down that tiny little print under where you're supposed to list them, it says, please be advised, failure to list all of the individuals as requested in paragraph number 4 is a material misrepresentation and you won't have insurance when you need it. So again, not trying to get off topic, but don't skip that. People live with you, you list them. Because if not, you're going to be paying for insurance you don't have. All right, so that's what a reservations of rights is.
Okay.
Then notices of denial and correspondence from the insurance company for any and all dates, meaning from the time you were born to the time that they send this subpoena out. Any and all PIP applications or applications submitted for bodily injury claims. Independent medical examination reports. That's when the insurance company sends you to their doctor to basically say you're not hurt whether you are or aren't. Automobile appraisals, photographs, payments, documents, forms, files, memorandum, policies, copies of policies, notices of premiums, bills paid and unpaid, behavioral health records, inclusive of psychiatric records, psychological records, counseling records, therapy records. Now, we're not talking about just records related to this accident. You go to counseling for a divorce. Does this company have it? I don't know. And I'll get to that. But this is what they're asking for from this company. And I've never heard of it. And just so you know, I did file a request for copies because I want to see, what is this company doing? What do they have? I've never heard of it, never seen it. So anyway, treatment for alcohol and drug records. Now, mind you, all of this information is protected under HIPAA and Florida statutes. Your psychiatric and psychological records, there's a statute that says no one's entitled to that unless you basically give them permission to see it, and a few other exceptions. Drug and alcohol records. You say, well, what the heck, Jason, do they have to do with my car wreck? And I would agree.
Right.
But I'll keep going because it's really mind-boggling. Any and all medical records, test records, consultation reports, x-rays, MRIs, CT scans, films, records, documents, EEGs. The list goes on and on. Nurses' notes, emergency room notes. So I'm reading this subpoena. I'm like, how does this, which is basically your life, become somehow associated with this company called SureScripts? Again, never heard of it. Ask some of my buddies. You guys ever heard of this? Never seen it. So then I say, okay, well, look, first I'm going to object, which you have the right to do. If you get a non-party production subpoena that is required, so the other side has to tell me, look, I'm going to request these records. And let's just say it's Dr. Johnson, and he's your psychiatric or psychological counselor. Well, because we don't have a component for that in this lawsuit, we're just complaining neck and back injuries and some lost wages. They're not entitled to it pursuant to Florida statute protecting you. So I can object, and then if they really think they are, we go talk to a judge, and there's case law that's clear on the subject and so forth. But anyway, so that's how it works. You got to tell me you're looking for something, and I can say, well, I don't think you're entitled to it, and I object. So I get this SureScripts, and I go online because, again, never heard of it. So let me just go, and I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible.
You're good. So,
Go.
interjecting.
Yeah,
So
shoot.
it sounds to me like this is not like they're looking for something specific to see a history. This is like they're trying to consolidate everything into one place and like just mass download it.
Dude, to me, I mean, and again, I don't really pay much attention, but what was that NSA where the guy blew the lid on him and he's over in France or something, where they had your phone calls.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It sounds to me like this company is almost some type of huge information gathering entity on your life because So let me. It says online is who is SureScripts. It says our purpose is to serve the nation with the single most trusted and capable health information network since 2001. So this has been going on for a long time. Go ahead.
So this is direct from
their website. This is their website because I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
So you got to go to the website and say, oh, who are these
Who are
people?
you? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. SureScripts has led the movement to turn health data into actual intelligence and increase patient safety, lower costs, and ensure quality of care. Sounds all hunky-dory, sounds good, but if it sounds too good, it usually is. All right, who owns SureScripts? The National Association of Chain Drug Stores, National Community Pharmacy Association, and believe it or not, CVS. That was interesting. It says who or what is the SureScripts Network Alliance? Organizations from across the healthcare marketplace help make SureScripts solutions valuable to all who participate. We call this powerful collaboration the SureScripts Network Alliance. Now, mind you, they're on the internet. They're trying to get insurance companies, doctors' offices, hospitals, maybe law firms, and everyone to subscribe to this organization for a fee, of course. Okay? And so let me see. It says, who is part of the SureScripts Alliance? All SureScripts customers and end users are part of the alliance. This includes virtually all electronic health records, pharmacy benefit managers, that's your pharmacy records, the clinicians, so meaning not only CVS, you go there, but they're going to look and say, well, this was also Dr. Johnson who wrote the prescription, and therefore they're going to incorporate Dr. Johnson's records into this. Plus, of course, an increasing number of health plans, long-term, post-acute organization, and specialty pharmacies. And I can tell you for a fact, what's happening here is they're gathering information about us. And insurance companies already, your auto insurance companies already do this. And how do we know that? This is simple. You'll send a letter to the insurance company. Hey, I'm Reed and Reed, and we represent Jason Crawford for an accident. And they'll follow up. And at some point, you send what's called a demand. It's just an offer. We want $50,000 because Jason broke a leg, and so that's a fair amount. They will send back a letter saying, okay, well, we want information on Jason's accidents from 2004, 2008. He seems like he went to a doctor in 2015. We want all that information. Well, there's no way they would know that but for the fact that they're sharing information. And how do they get that information? We give it to them. When you sign documents obtaining insurance, after you're injured, they will send what's called a PIP application. If you look at these PIP applications, they have authorizations. Some of these authorizations, which we don't allow our clients to sign, we have created one ourselves. These authorizations will say insurance, Geico, Progressive, USAA, they can get school records, mind you, high school, college. They can get these drug and alcohol records. They can get these psychiatric and psychological records. They can get records from prior doctors. It's amazing what we allow without really paying much attention to it, and to give to whomever. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like I remember like when I was younger, I was trying to apply for jobs like in college and stuff, and I got turned down for a lot of jobs, and I couldn't figure out why. And I went to the staffing company to try to like get them to place me somewhere, and they looked at me weird, and they were like, "Well, we can't place you anywhere because you have a record." And I'm like, "I don't never had a record. I'm not a Boy Scout, but I've been like the cleanest dudes. It's like I don't know. I can't even talk back to my mom, you know."
Know the feeling.
I was trying to figure out like what was going on, and she wouldn't tell me. But apparently, like the background check, there was another Jason Crawford, similar name and everything, but lived in a different place, different ID numbers and stuff. But somehow the database had gotten merged.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, so
and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it is. And my thought is like this. With that kind of complication, what's kind of the recourse? I know you don't have the answer to that because it's not pertinent to the case, but that's just where my thought goes. Is like, what's the recourse?
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Unraveling any of that.
Yeah, it is, and that's why they have these companies that, like, if your identity's stolen, your identity theft, and you pay them, and then they're supposed to help you. Biggest ripoff there is, in my opinion. I better state, in my opinion, don't waste your money on that crap. You know, don't waste your money. They don't do anything. Just don't. So let's move on. But it is a nightmare. It's a huge nightmare. All right. So I could go on and on and on about what this SureScripts is and what they get. But the bottom line is, and I honestly, Jason, I don't know what we can do about it. And I don't mean we as lawyers. I mean we as people, because when you go to the hospital, you either sign the documents they put in front of you, or they say, "Have a nice day."
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and now at this point, we've probably signed so many documents. Thank goodness I haven't gone to too many doctors and hospitals, even though I did recently. Do you think I read what they signed?
Right.
No. I'm like, can I just get the heck out of here? Sure.
But it surely makes me think of like very more carefully reading.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much anything.
Yeah.
You know, especially with you said that CVS was one of the like partner owners. You know, when you go to CVS and you even put your like phone number in for the little like rewards programs and stuff, I'm pretty sure I've seen the word SureScript somewhere, and I wonder if they enroll you.
Oh, I guarantee it. Yeah. Obviously. And again, this is recent.
I haven't checked it.
This is literally this week, so I did the request for copies. So I'm curious to see, and you know, I'll update our listeners when I get that. And of course, they give you the crap, how SureScripts safeguards personal health information. Protecting the privacy and security of personal health information maintained, transmitted, or otherwise made available via SureScripts. That's scary. Did you catch that? They maintain this information. They transmit it, give it to others, or is otherwise made available. What does that mean? Otherwise made available.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. To via our SureScripts network is vitally important. Of course it is, but we only got to look to all of these companies that have massive what do you call them, Jason? Protections or a protocol in place so you can't hack them.
Right.
Yeah, please.
Security.
If those people can get hacked, we all know anybody can, and certainly these people can with Lord knows what information they have on you. So anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to say. That's how the lawsuit works. Of course, after they gather information, they'll take your deposition. Ultimately, then you'll go to a mediation. A mediation's really just a settlement conference where especially a car wreck, the defense attorney and the insurance adjuster will be on one side of the table. You and I will be on the other side of the table. And there'll be a mediator at the head of the table, and his or her job is to try to simply help facilitate a settlement. Got a question or no?
Yeah. Let's see. Brian Staley says, "I can attest Paul has been a lawyer, argumentative that is, his whole life."
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Mr. Staley. But so, and then the mediator, it basically goes, the whole thought process of mediation, if it settles, is this: the plaintiffs, us, the injured party, think they didn't get enough money. the defense insurance company thinks they gave you too much money. But what you didn't do, you didn't rely at trial on 6 people who live in Hillsborough County or whatever county the lawsuit's filed in, who A, have a driver's license, who B, don't have a felony, and who C, which is really more important than A or B, for whatever reason couldn't find a way to get out of jury duty. And so typically speaking, you don't want to leave the fate of your claim in those people. Just that simple. And so if they, both sides realize it's a crapshoot in the courthouse. They don't call it the fair house. It's the fairgrounds. So you want to the fairgrounds, you go to the Florida Strawberry Festival. The courthouse is not fair. Somebody is going to walk out of there feeling real bad. And so if you can prevent that from happening, then, which is what mediation's for, you should go ahead and do it. I mean, literally yesterday, it was a reasonable amount at our mediation. And so I said, look, we can do better at trial. We can do worse at trial, or bird in the hand. This is what you're going to get. Walked away many a times at mediation, said, no, that's ridiculous. Sometimes you say, oh my gosh, I thought we'd get this amount, and you get a lot more than that. And so, it's a crapshoot. And then if you can't settle at mediation, you go to trial, and you might as well go to Vegas, roll the dice, and see what happens.
So I guess the 2 big takeaways that I'm on the listener over here.
Yeah, shoot.
Is one, knowing how lawsuits work and not wanting to give away any information that I don't need to.
Right.
Make my social media private.
Yeah,
let's start there.
I don't know why anybody says it. Of course, I'm old and whatever. And some people, honestly, Jason, I don't think they really know or
I think a lot of people, we just accept it. Like,
yeah.
Once we get into it and it's not private, we just accept that that's the way that it is, and we don't think about all the different tiers of privacy settings that are available to us to use that way, because we're just, I don't know, we're thinking about broadcasting it or putting it. Maybe everybody's interested in their 15 seconds of fame. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I guess the second takeaway that I would have is just also reading things more carefully. That's, for me, you drove that home for me with the whole sure scripts part of the conversation. I'm completely sitting here thinking, yeah, I'm going to be a lot more careful reader on anything that I sign moving forward, because that's just wild.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, when it comes, yeah, me too. And what you can do, people don't realize, if you see something in paragraph 15 of that hospital discharge document that says you provide sure script, feel free to line through it. You can do that. I mean, people don't, and the hospital comes back and says, oh, you can't do that, and say, well, yeah, I can. First, you've already been treated, and all they care about now is payment. And B, say, I don't know who SureScripts is, and I darn sure don't want my private medical history being sent to them. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I will, moving forward, definitely, because, hey, look, I'm a lawyer, and I don't do it. First, I didn't even realize that it existed until Monday. And second, it's a brave new world. I mean, the whole 1984, that's a book, George Orwell. It's wow. It's scary.
Yeah. So I want to say thank you for taking the time to put these together, because I know that, you have a lot of information you've accumulated over the years, and it's definitely something that I benefit from every time we do one of these, and I'm sure our audience does too. Again, these are obviously not legal advice. This is for entertainment and or awareness and educating the public. It's not to be construed as legal advice, so there's that. But I appreciate these conversations, because I always learn. I always learn a lot, man.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed doing it. And then to a little personal note, like I said, had the surgery October 29th, went to the doctor on the 1-month follow-up, and things are good. The incision's basically healed. And I'm starting the physical therapy. I tell you right now, I plan on, contrary to basically everybody in the whole world telling me it's not going to happen, I plan on being on that mountain on December 26th and snow skiing. And 2 months after this surgery,
But if you take me with you, I can get video of that. We can go.
Well, yeah, not gonna happen. But maybe I think Ryan has a GoPro, so we'll do that. Now, you know what? We'll have Jason put it on the Facebook that I at least did it one time. I honestly got to be and all kidding aside, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm as concerned as anybody else as what the hell is going to happen on December 26th. But I can tell you, I'm going to make one run come hell or high water. Other than that, I guess that's it. We're going to enjoy the weekend. What's next? Are we here next Friday? Oh no, I've got. I bought a house, getting out of my tiny little apartment, and so I have a closing. So maybe Ryan will. If we can convince Junior to step in, wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah, we probably can. We can put something together.
But we'll figure it out. So tune in next Friday at one way or the other. Easy for me to say at the Read and Read Facebook.
Cool.
All right, we out.
Yep.
See ya.
All right.